I thank Don, and I want him to know that everything I value most in our lives, you've given me.
Awards are coming up, and you've been nominated 20 times for Academy Awards.
Meryl Streep has finally opened up about a deeply personal chapter of her life, and the revelation has left many people stunned. For decades, she was viewed as one of Hollywood's most respected stars, a woman whose private life seemed remarkably stable compared to the chaos often surrounding the entertainment industry. But recent developments have completely changed the conversation around the legendary actress. The image of a devoted wife, loving mother, and award-winning performer appeared almost untouchable for years. Yet behind the glamorous red carpets and career milestones, there were private struggles that remained hidden from public view. Now, details that stayed buried for years have emerged, causing fans to look at her life from an entirely different perspective. Back in September 1978, Meryl Streep surprised many people when she married sculptor Don Gummer after a relatively brief period of getting to know one another. At the time, she was navigating an incredibly difficult and uncertain period in her personal life. Friends and family questioned whether such a fast-moving relationship could truly last, especially during a moment when emotions were running high and the future seemed unclear. According to widely reported accounts, Dawn entered her life through a connection with her brother and initially offered practical support when she needed a place to stay. What started as a simple act of kindness quickly evolved into something much deeper. Dawn became more than just a source of stability. He became someone she could rely on during one of the most challenging chapters of her life. Many observers expected the marriage to struggle under the pressure of Hollywood fame. Instead, Don embraced a quieter lifestyle and largely stayed out of the spotlight. While Meryl's career exploded worldwide, he remained focused on his work as a sculptor, rarely seeking attention for himself. That contrast between public celebrity and private support became one of the defining features of their relationship. Over the following decades, the couple built a family together and raised 4 children: Henry, Mamie, Grace, and Louisa. Rather than fully embracing Hollywood life, they chose a quieter path. They settled in Connecticut, away from the constant attention of photographers and entertainment media. Their goal was simple: create a normal environment where their children could grow up without the pressures that often come with having famous parents. That decision seemed to work remarkably well. While Meryl continued dominating the film industry, her family life appeared grounded and stable. Some of her children later pursued careers in entertainment, but the family largely managed to maintain a sense of privacy that is rare among Hollywood royalty. Meanwhile, Meryl's career reached heights that few actors have ever achieved. She collected award after award, earned record-breaking Oscar nominations, and became widely recognized as one of the greatest performers of her generation. With every major achievement, Don often appeared nearby, quietly supporting her without drawing attention to himself. To the public, they represented a nearly perfect balance between professional success and personal happiness. Their marriage seemed immune to the scandals, public feuds, and messy divorces that frequently dominate celebrity headlines. For years, they successfully kept their private challenges away from public discussion. Meryl carefully maintained that image throughout countless interviews and public appearances. She was admired not only for her acting talent, but also for her ability to balance a demanding career with family responsibilities. Fans often pointed to her marriage as proof that lasting relationships could survive even under the intense pressures of fame. One of the most memorable moments came when she accepted an Academy Award for her performance in The Iron Lady. Standing before millions of viewers, Meryl spoke warmly about her husband and credited him for many of the things she valued most in life. The speech reinforced the public belief that their relationship remained as strong as ever. But behind the scenes, changes were slowly beginning to take shape. As their children grew older and established lives of their own, the family dynamic naturally shifted. The household that had once been filled with activity became quieter. At the same time, Meryl's demanding schedule continued, requiring extensive travel and long periods away from home. Those professional commitments reportedly created increasing physical distance between the couple. Over time, that distance may have evolved into emotional separation as well. They were 2 creative individuals with very different lifestyles, and maintaining the same connection they once shared became more difficult as the years passed. The 2018 Academy Awards would eventually take on a new significance. Looking back, many observers now view that event as one of the final major public appearances associated with the couple's long marriage. At the time, nobody realized that a major transition had already begun unfolding behind closed doors. After that period, people started noticing subtle changes. Dawn Gummer appeared less frequently alongside Meryl during major events. Fans who had grown accustomed to seeing them together began quietly asking questions. Industry insiders also noticed that the familiar pattern of public appearances had changed. Soon, reports emerged suggesting that the couple was spending much of their time living separate lives. Meryl reportedly spent increasing amounts of time in California, while Dawn remained focused on his work and life on the East Coast. Initially, these arrangements were viewed as practical decisions connected to professional obligations. But as the years passed, the separation became harder to ignore. Real estate records and public reporting fueled additional speculation. Observers pointed to evidence suggesting that Meryl had established a separate residence years earlier. Small details that once seemed insignificant suddenly attracted attention. Fans noticed occasions when she appeared without her wedding ring or wore it differently than before. Still, Meryl remained extremely private. She rarely addressed personal matters publicly, and her family also avoided discussing the situation. As a result, rumors remained just that, rumors. No dramatic accusations surfaced, no public disputes unfolded. There were no explosive interviews or bitter exchanges making headlines. Then came the announcement that changed everything. In October 2023, a statement issued through Meryl Streep's representative confirmed that she and Dawn Gummer had actually been separated for more than 6 years. The revelation shocked Hollywood and surprised even longtime entertainment reporters. Very few people had suspected that such a significant change had remained hidden for so long. The statement explained that although they were no longer living together as husband and wife, they continued to care for one another and maintained mutual respect. Rather than revealing hostility or conflict, the announcement described a relationship that had gradually evolved into something different over time. Many people were amazed that two of the entertainment industry's most recognizable figures had managed to keep such a major life change private for years. In an era where celebrity relationships are constantly scrutinized, their ability to maintain confidentiality was almost unheard of. The news also sparked a broader conversation about long-term relationships and personal growth. After spending nearly 45 years together, it appeared that both individuals had reached a point where they wanted to pursue separate paths while preserving the respect they had built over decades. Unlike many celebrity breakups, there were no public battles over money, no dramatic allegations, and no endless media wars. Instead, their story unfolded as a quiet acknowledgement that people can change over time. Sometimes even strong relationships evolve into something different than what they once were. For many fans, the revelation transformed the way they viewed Meryl Streep. Rather than seeing only the image of a woman with a seemingly perfect marriage, they saw someone willing to face difficult personal realities later in life. That honesty resonated with many people who understood that life's biggest challenges do not disappear simply because someone is famous. As the years moved forward, Meryl appeared increasingly comfortable embracing this new chapter. Freed from the pressure of maintaining public assumptions about her private life, she seemed more relaxed and open in her public appearances. The carefully protected image that existed for decades had finally shifted, revealing a more complicated but perhaps more authentic story. And while the truth remained hidden for years, its eventual revelation reminded everyone of a simple fact. Even Hollywood legends have personal journeys that the public never fully sees until the curtain finally lifts. For the first time in decades, Meryl Streep found herself entering an entirely new chapter of life. No longer tied to the expectations that had followed her throughout her marriage, she began embracing a different sense of freedom. The carefully structured life she had maintained for years was changing, and with that change came new experiences, new friendships, and a fresh outlook on happiness. Away from the spotlight of constant public scrutiny, Meryl settled into a quieter routine in Pasadena, California. Friends and observers noticed a shift in her energy. She appeared more relaxed, more open, and increasingly willing to enjoy life on her own terms. After spending much of her adult life balancing family responsibilities with an extraordinary career, she seemed ready to focus on herself in ways she hadn't before. As public attention surrounding her long private separation gradually faded, Meryl unexpectedly found herself back in the headlines for an entirely different reason. Her role as Loretta Durkin in the hit series Only Murders in the Building introduced audiences to a vibrant new side of the legendary actress. The project became one of the most talked about chapters of her recent career and sparked conversations far beyond the television screen. One reason for that attention was her undeniable chemistry with veteran comedian and actor Martin Short. Viewers quickly noticed how naturally the two performers connected on screen. Their scenes together carried warmth, humor, and emotional depth that immediately caught the attention of fans. Before long, discussions about their friendship began spreading across entertainment news outlets and social media. The speculation only intensified as the pair continued appearing together at industry events. Every smile, every shared laugh, and every public interaction became the subject of endless discussion online. Fans couldn't help but wonder whether there might be something more behind their obvious affection and comfort with one another. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, rumors continued gaining momentum. Their frequent appearances together fueled ongoing curiosity. Reports described private dinners, friendly outings, and regular meetings connected to creative projects. While none of these activities confirmed a romantic relationship, they certainly kept the rumor mill spinning at full speed. At the same time, many people noticed changes in Meryl herself. She appeared energized, confident, and genuinely happy. After years of public assumptions about her personal life, she seemed to be enjoying a fresh start. That visible transformation led many observers to connect her renewed happiness with her growing friendship with Martin Short. However, both Meryl and Martin consistently avoided confirming any romantic speculation. Martin Short publicly described their connection as a close friendship and repeatedly pushed back against claims that they were secretly involved. Despite those statements, entertainment media continued analyzing every public appearance, convinced there was a deeper story waiting to emerge. Adding even more intrigue, reports surfaced suggesting that the two stars were discussing future creative collaborations. Industry insiders spoke about potential stage projects and professional ventures that could bring them together even more frequently in the coming years. Their shared sense of humor and mutual admiration only strengthened public fascination with their bond. People close to Meryl often suggested that her children were happy to see their mother enjoying life again. After years devoted to both family and career, many believed she deserved the opportunity to embrace whatever brought her happiness. Friends and colleagues frequently commented on the positive energy surrounding her during this period. Even fellow cast members occasionally praised the connection between Meryl and Martin. Their friendship appeared effortless. Whether working together or attending events, they shared a natural rapport that audiences found impossible to ignore. According to those around them, laughter and mutual respect formed the foundation of their relationship. Yet while the public focused on her present, Meryl was increasingly reflecting on her past. As 2026 approached, she began speaking more openly about personal experiences she had rarely discussed in public. One particularly emotional interview generated widespread attention because it touched on a chapter of her life that had remained deeply meaningful for nearly half a century. In that conversation, Meryl reflected on her relationship with actor John Cazale, the acclaimed performer known for his role as Fredo Corleone in The Godfather. Their relationship, which ended with his death in 1978, had long been regarded as one of the most significant experiences of her life. Although decades had passed, the emotional impact of that loss never completely disappeared. The interview revealed a level of honesty that surprised many fans. Rather than focusing solely on career achievements or public accomplishments, Meryl spoke about enduring grief, memory, and the lasting influence certain people leave behind. Her reflections offered a rare glimpse into emotions she had largely kept private throughout her career. According to Meryl, some feelings never fully disappear, regardless of how much time passes. Life moves forward, responsibilities grow, and new chapters begin, but certain memories remain deeply rooted. Her comments resonated with many people who understood the lasting impact of profound relationships. She explained that age had given her a different perspective on truth and personal reflection. After decades of maintaining privacy, she no longer felt the same pressure to keep every emotional experience hidden. Reaching this stage of life encouraged her to speak more openly about the people and moments that had shaped her journey. Her reflections also encouraged renewed discussion about her marriage to Don Gummer. Some commentators suggested that her willingness to revisit old memories reflected a broader effort to understand the different chapters of her life. Rather than viewing the past as something to conceal, she appeared ready to acknowledge its lasting importance. Meryl described reaching a point where honesty felt more valuable than maintaining appearances. She suggested that living authentically becomes increasingly important with age. According to her, carrying unspoken emotions for decades can be far more exhausting than simply confronting them directly. At the same time, she made it clear that remembering John Cazale did not diminish the importance of the life she built afterward. Instead, it represented an acknowledgement of a person whose influence remained part of her story. Fans praised the actress for discussing such deeply personal subjects with sincerity and grace. The interview also brought renewed attention to her friendship with Martin Short. Meryl spoke warmly about the role laughter played in her life and how meaningful companionship can be during later chapters of life. She emphasized that healing does not always come from replacing the past, but from learning how to carry it differently. According to Meryl, Martin brought joy, kindness, and lightheartedness into her world. She described him as someone who understood the value of humor during difficult moments and appreciated the importance of accepting people exactly as they are. Those comments only fueled public fascination with their connection. Whether their bond is friendship, companionship, or something deeper remains known only to them. What is clear is that Meryl Streep's life has entered a remarkable new chapter. After decades of carefully guarding her private world, she appears more comfortable sharing pieces of her story than ever before. And for many fans, that may be the most surprising transformation of all. Not the awards, not the headlines, and not the speculation, but seeing one of Hollywood's most private legends finally allowing the world to glimpse the woman behind the icon. For many fans, the most powerful part of Meryl Streep's story has nothing to do with Oscar trophies, red carpets, or record-breaking performances. Instead, it comes from a deeply personal chapter that began long before she became one of the most celebrated actresses in Hollywood. The emotions connected to that period have continued to shape her life for decades, and many believe they help explain some of the choices she made throughout her remarkable journey. To understand why Meryl's recent reflections have attracted so much attention, it's necessary to travel back to New York in the 1970s. Long before worldwide fame arrived, Mary Louise Streep was an ambitious young actress determined to make her mark on the theater world. Fresh from her studies at the Yale School of Drama, she arrived in New York with enormous talent, relentless determination, and dreams of building a successful acting career. Those early years were filled with auditions, stage performances, and constant hard work. Meryl quickly earned a reputation for her dedication and commitment to authenticity. She approached every role with intensity and seriousness, determined to become the best performer she could possibly be. It was during this important period that her personal life would take a dramatic turn. In 1976, while working on productions connected to New York's vibrant theater scene, Meryl met actor John Cazale. By then, Cazale was already widely respected for his unforgettable performance as Fredo Corleone in The Godfather. Although he was admired throughout the industry for his extraordinary talent, those who knew him often described him as thoughtful, humble, and deeply devoted to his craft. The connection between Meryl and John developed quickly. Friends and colleagues noticed the strong bond they shared almost immediately. Beyond their obvious admiration for each other's talent, they seemed to understand one another on a deeper level. Their relationship became one of the most admired romances within the New York theater community at the time. For a brief period, the future seemed full of possibilities. Both actors were building impressive careers and sharing dreams about the years ahead. But that happiness was suddenly interrupted when John received devastating news. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, a diagnosis that changed everything for both of them. Faced with an uncertain future, Meryl made a decision that revealed the depth of her commitment. Rather than stepping away from the difficult situation, she chose to remain by John's side throughout his illness. As his health declined, she balanced professional responsibilities with caregiving duties, doing everything possible to support him during an incredibly painful chapter of their lives. According to accounts from friends and colleagues, Meryl devoted enormous amounts of time and energy to helping John through his treatments. While continuing to pursue acting opportunities, she reportedly structured much of her life around his needs. The demands were emotionally exhausting, but those close to the couple often spoke about her unwavering loyalty and determination. During this period, Meryl accepted professional work that helped provide financial stability while they faced mounting medical challenges. Although her career was beginning to gain momentum, her focus remained firmly on supporting the man she loved. Friends recalled that even in difficult moments, the couple continued discussing future projects, artistic ideas, and dreams they hoped to pursue together. As John's condition worsened, the reality of the situation became impossible to avoid. Yet those around them often described remarkable moments of courage, tenderness, and resilience. Their relationship became a source of inspiration for many who witnessed the strength they showed in the face of overwhelming circumstances. In March 1978, John Cazale passed away. His death left an enormous emotional void in Meryl's life. The loss arrived at a pivotal moment, just as her own career was beginning to accelerate. Friends later described the period as one of profound grief and adjustment, forcing her to confront challenges that would influence her for years to come. Over time, Meryl occasionally reflected on how that experience shaped her understanding of life. She has spoken about the lessons she learned regarding loss, resilience, and the importance of appreciating the time people have together. Those experiences helped form the perspective she carried into both her personal and professional life. Many observers believe the impact of losing John remained with her long after the tragedy itself. While she eventually built a family, achieved extraordinary success, and created a life filled with accomplishments, the memory of that relationship continued to occupy an important place in her story. Recent interviews have renewed public interest in this chapter because Meryl appears more willing than ever to discuss the emotions connected to those years. Rather than avoiding the subject, she has spoken thoughtfully about the lasting influence certain people can have on a person's life. Her reflections have resonated with fans who understand that some relationships continue shaping us long after circumstances change. For many people, these comments also provide additional context for her later marriage to Don Gummer. They suggest that the experiences of her youth helped shape her values, her sense of gratitude, and her approach to long-term commitment. While every stage of her life carried its own meaning, the lessons learned during those early years never completely disappeared. Today, Meryl Streep's story continues to inspire audiences around the world. Her journey reflects not only extraordinary professional success, but also resilience in the face of personal heartbreak. The challenges she endured, the relationships she cherished, and the wisdom she gained along the way have all become part of the legacy she leaves behind. More than anything, her story serves as a reminder that behind every public figure is a deeply human journey filled with love, loss, growth, and perseverance. And perhaps that is why her reflections continue touching so many people decades later. Beneath the fame and recognition is a woman who experienced life's highest highs and most painful lows, and kept moving forward with remarkable strength. Meryl Streep's life story isn't just about becoming a Hollywood icon, it's also about enduring heartbreak, finding strength during loss, and carrying important memories through every chapter that followed. Her recent reflections have given fans a rare glimpse behind the legend, revealing the personal experiences that helped shape one of the most respected actresses of all time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share your thoughts.